Yo, what's up, boys? I know I'm a little bit late to this and I'm a little bit sick, but I was told that there's this IGN review about this little game called, like PI Mouse for Hire and Shizzle. Um, that was like bad and stuff. So I'm gonna watch the review, but I'm gonna be try to be like as charitable like as like possible like to the reviewer. So like let's watch it. We'll just do a fucking live react, rip it. I'll pause it whenever I got some bullshit to say. So let's get it, boys. Hell yeah. Okay, I'm gonna play it. How do I? Whoops. There. Okay, there we go. That's how I play it.
I love noir. I'll take all kinds. The hard-boiled detective, the seedy crime story, neo-noir, classic pulp, you name it, I'm buying.
Okay. Okay.
So when Mouse PI for Hire sauntered onto my screen the way Ilsa walks into Rick's in Casablanca, I was pretty excited about it. But noir isn't just an aesthetic to be thrown on like an old coat as you're leaving your office at the behest of a leggy blonde. While Mouse PI for Hire clearly understands the style and tropes of classic noir films and novels as well as 1930s cartoons more broadly, it doesn't seem to get why those things are there or how they're used to tell compelling stories. By fusing a hard-boiled detective mystery with a fast, retro-styled FPS, developer Fumi Games has made a shooter that is thematically incoherent, with the apparent aspirations of its story contradicted at every point by the actual action. Of all the Steam libraries and all the PCs and all
So far, we're gonna be honest. Okay, so far it's reasonable. He's saying, okay, I think this is like the intro sequence to his review, right? This is the intro. He's like, yo, what's up, boys? My name is Mike Wazowski, and this is what I think about this game, and that's fine. Like that's yeah, we're listening. Okay, he's saying like noir is like pog, and he's like he understands noir. He's like a noir savant, and he thinks that this game doesn't understand noir and didn't do it in a good way. Okay, fair enough. Let's see what do we got to support that argument. All right, let's build on that.
the world, Mouse PI for Hire walked into mine, and I wish I liked it more than I do.
It's over. You got nowhere left to run. I run toward the dream. A bright future ruled by big mice.
Mouse follows Jack.
Oh yeah, I should probably say that I actually did play the game. Yeah, I played the game all the way through. I even got the secret weapon. I got like half the achievements or something like that. I might flash that on screen at the end of this, but I didn't collect everything, but I did a pretty thorough playthrough, I would say. It's a shame there's no new game plus, so I can't go in and gather everything else. But all right, continue.
Jack Pepper, a private eye in a world where everyone is a mouse, after Wanda Fuller from the Mouseburg Herald sets him on the case of a missing magician.
I can give you more than a crumb, Jack. I can give you a magician.
As you'd expect, that spirals into a much bigger conspiracy that includes an attempt on a mayoral candidate's life and racially motivated mouse-on-mouse violence as bigger mice oppress the smaller shrews.
My buddy got nabbed for just being a shrew.
Same as it ever was, even in Mouseburg. And the requisite twists and turns you'd expect from any good detective story make this tale solid enough.
I was in too deep. Way deeper than I signed up for.
Troy Baker, great job voice acting this character, by the way. I don't know what the exact line was, but it was like sucking on my dick with some kielbasa or something like that. And the way you said kielbasa really spoke to my soul, so appreciate that. Gabagool, bitch.
What bothers me, however, is how overly referential so much of it is. The world is full of mice, so everything is about cheese. Everything. A bad guy? He's a cheeselegger.
These cheeseleggers in on the shrew racket.
Run into a lady mouse with a sultry voice? It'll be described as
Gorgonzola picante slapped on a mozzarella platter.
someone need to assure you they're telling the truth.
Swear on my mama's cottage curds.
This is charming initially, then it never stops. Everything is a reference.
Wait, so this is a criticism? We're criticizing this? Like we're saying that because it's a mouse cartoon game, there's too many references to mice. Okay, sure. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. I guess like you don't have to be a big fan of the writing, but it's kind of like when you try to combine cartoon and over the top. I don't know. antics with noir, you're gonna like hopefully wind up on something that doesn't take itself super seriously. And if that writing doesn't speak to you, that's fine. I think at some points even I was like, oh god, another cheese pun. Yeah, sure, but I still think it does a good job considering the genre combination that it's going for. But sure, you know what, like I could accept that, right? Now what else
To the fact that everyone is a mouse and mice like cheese, and when it's not, instead it'll be a reference to an old cartoon, or the fact that this is a video game.
Would you just
Probably guess the former.
Well, it's a reference to an old cartoon because it's an old cartoon. Like that's a genre. It's a genre mashup. It's kind of supposed to like you know being there a little bit. Especially if we're talking about elements. If we're specifically talking about the dialogue being referential, again, yeah, sure. There's a lot of references to stuff there, and you could criticize that, I guess. Sure.
When one of the first things I saw was a steamboat named Willie, but at least that and the reference-heavy power-ups are cute. Constant callbacks to classic films or other video games? Not so much. And it doesn't end there. A boss fight in the sewers? It's a literal alligator because of course it is. If you're looking for the...
What? Why is that a problem? The alligator boss fight's good. It's got mechanics. He shoots you with the zaga 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 zaga, and you have to go behind like a corner, and then you like poof, poof, and then he summons alligators too, I think, although I didn't see more than like 2. And then he zaga 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 zaga, and then you have to like go behind another corner. I think the gameplay is good, and I think it's thematically appropriate. Like, is it too on the nose? Nah, you can put a lot of things in the sewers, I think, from a narrative perspective. But from like from a narrative perspective, again, maybe you could accept this argument. But it's like really well built into the environment and the other aesthetics that this video game incorporates. So I like that. W alligator.
The cheese-liking foreman, Jack will quip that he doesn't look like much of a boss,
More like a mini-boss.
and then laugh at his own joke. The voice actors, led by Troy Baker, do an admirable job with what they have, but nothing in Mouseburg is allowed to just be.
W Troy Baker. He's like the most overglazed man alive, but I don't care. Awesome. W.
It has to be a mouse reference, or a literally cheesy one-liner,
Cheddar, what's wrong with Gouda?
No good if you broke, Jack.
or a reference to
I really like that line. I really like that line. I actually still remember that after playing this game. So if that was if that was an example of bad writing, I full on disagree with you. I think that was actually really clever and funny. But okay.
something else.
Ticket seller, I'm going on a perilous journey.
It's hard
Sorry.
to care about anything.
Yeah, no, that was
for hire
cringe.
because
The
it
ticket seller thing, I remember seeing that. I was like, holy fuck, this is cringe. It's a reference to something called the potion seller, and it doesn't even really make sense. And I was like, ooh, that's some Life is Strange dialogue right there. That's a little bit of an L. But the other thing, fuck no, that was awesome. Okay. Also, like we're 3 minutes into this, and we're still talking about the narrative. I mean, okay, it's a video game. I hope we're getting to the video game part soon. I would appreciate that. Thank you.
making jokes about everything.
Here's Jacko.
It just wants to remind you of other better things. Surely that's enough, right?
Time to find someone higher up.
It just wants to remind you of other better things. That's a statement without any substantiation, but I guess. I mean, yeah. You kind of, I guess you're forming why it wants to remind you of better things across this whole thing. So, yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that's sure. We'll roll with that for now. But that was a little harsh. That was a little toxic. It was a little toxic.
They squeeze until they suck.
At least the shooting is better. This is the latest in a wave of boomer shooters inspired by old school FPSs like Doom or Quake, and it's a decent one at that. You start with a pistol in Jack's fists, but you'll soon acquire a shotgun, dynamite, a James gun, which is just a Tommy gun, and more unique stuff like the Devarnisher, which shoots what looks like Elmer's glue that melts the flesh from your enemy's bones, leaving only a skeleton. Throw in stuff like a double jump, dash, spinning tail for hovering, and a slide, and Jack's got some stylish moves when the bad guys show up. This ain't Quake, but it does feel good. It doesn't hurt that all of it, from reload animations to random conversations, is rendered in an absolutely gorgeous black and white mix of sprite work and 3D models. The world building may be thin, but Mouse PI for Hire is still dressed to the nines.
Okay, so he likes the gunplay. Fantastic. He said that it's not quite Quake, you know, but like, what are we talking about here? Nothing's gonna be quite Quake when it comes to boomer shooters, right? Or like Doom. So this was a fucking W man's W review. That's like that's got to be like a 9 out of 10 on the gameplay, right? Surely.
Even here, though, I have issues. Weapons can feel weak, especially the shotgun. It's got the audio kick of a pop gun, and there's a strange disconnect to seeing something that sounds like a kid's toy blow off some poor mouse's head as you paint the white of the world with black ichor that spews from his neck.
No. I mean, this is a really hard argument to objectively break apart because there's not much there except that I didn't like the sound of the shotgun. I think the shotgun sounds fine for what it does and for the impact it has on the game world and for the sound effects that lead on from the shotgun. I think it's good. However, I'm just trying to like pinpoint the criticism here exactly. He's saying it sounds too weak, I guess, or you know, too toy gunny for the game. But it's like it's a mouse game. You're shooting mice in like a lead cartoon style. I think it's a lead cartoon style, and you're blasting their heads off. And I think it's actually, the way it sounds is very thematically appropriate for the game. Now, if it doesn't satisfy you, that's, you know, tough shit. But yeah, I think it's very good in the context that it's used in, and I actually like the sound effect. But there's like, we can forever be like, I like the sound effect, I don't like the sound effect, unless we build on something on that somehow. Then it's like kind of irrelevant. Next.
Enemies mostly come out of doors marked with a skull that you can't enter, robbing these areas of anything remotely resembling a sense of place. Levels also really like to pull the "we're gonna lock you in a room and throw baddies at you until they're dead or you are" shtick a little too much for my taste. None of this is game-breaking. The combat...
What the fuck did I just hear? Okay. No. IGN reviewer, no! Alright, let's turn this back. Let's turn this back a little bit.
Robbing these areas of anything remotely resembling a sense of place. Levels also really like to pull the "we're gonna lock you in a room and throw baddies at you until they're dead or you are" shtick a little too much for my taste.
The game likes to pull the "we're gonna lock you in a room with enemies until they're dead or you're dead" tech a little too much. That's what a fucking boomer shooter is, you fucking Eskimo. Dismissed. Next.
None of this is game-breaking. The combat is fundamentally good enough to carry you to the end of the roughly 12-hour campaign, but sometimes it feels like being at a show that's never quite bad enough to leave. And at least on the normal difficulty, health items are so generous there's rarely a challenge. Like any good boomer shooter, there are plenty of secrets to find. Newspapers...
He knows it's a boomer shooter and he just said that previous thing. What the fuck is wrong with this guy? This guy needs to get his like me likey versus objective reality TT classes checked. Anyway, I agree, okay? I agree. I was not a mega fan of this game either. It does feel like it plays a lot of what it has pretty early, and then it induces or like includes variations to that as the game progresses, like a little more and a little more and a little more. And that's a-okie dokers. Like that's fucking pog. That's fantastic. But I feel like we never really get anything that's so new that it completely elevates the gameplay to something else. Obviously from the start to the end we're at a different place, and you know there is some level of progression there, but I also think that it drags on a little bit, you know. It's pretty easy, like he said, even on the hardest difficulty, and it does drag on a little bit. Like I was toward the end of the game, I was like just wanting to see the ending, to be honest. Like I wasn't really enjoying doing the repetitive combat encounters anymore. So, you know, a valid criticism, I suppose. W mans.
Weapon upgrade schematics, baseball cards, and so on. Fragile walls to blow up, and even lock safes to open with your tail, which pulls double duty as a lockpick. Some of these locks are on a time limit, or must be solved in a limited number of moves, and you only get one shot at the good stuff they hold. Others are so easy you could probably solve them by letting an actual mouse run across your keyboard. It's very jarring.
Okay, I'm trying to break this down. Yeah, sure. When you first open locks, and there's ones that are baby easy mode, and then you open another lock and you only suddenly got one shot at it, and it's got spikes, it's got a move limit, it's got a time limit, everything's stacked. That is jarring. I agree. I think the first couple of locks like that had me scratching my little zus hole. But there's tiers to the locks. And after the original jar, it's not like that's a bad thing. There's difficulties to the lock picking. Are we criticizing the fact that it's difficult to pick some of the locks? Or are we... I suppose we're criticizing... Okay. I hope he's criticizing the fact that you don't know which of the safes that you open is going to be hard and which one of them is going to be easy. And I would say you kind of can, because usually the ones that are harder to open are not related to the main path you're supposed to go down and are in secret areas. So I don't really get that criticism. You're dismissed on that one. Sure, for the most part. There's like 10% there. I'll take it.
Once you're done with the level, it's back to the hub, which encompasses Jack's office, the local bar, store, weapon upgrade shop, and so on. My favorite thing here is the baseball card minigame you can play at the bar. You'll switch between pitching and being at bat, and using the cards in your hand, players and abilities, to try to score as many runs as you can. It's fun. What I like less is the whole being a detective thing, mostly because I never actually...
I also really like the baseball minigame. That's how you get the secret weapon, by the way. Spoilers, sorry. You gotta win 20 games of that, and then you get the pew 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 type shit. So, no spoilers, but yeah, I agree. The baseball minigame is good, and in addition to being a good minigame, it works as a decent break from going from mission to mission, blowing heads off, which I said does get repetitive toward the end of the game. So it's nice to go on a mission, come back in, do a couple baseball games, and then go back out and do more shooting. So, good opinion. He likes that. I like it too. He didn't really go deeper into it, but W.
Actually got to do it. Any clues you find will be pinned to Jack's caseboard, and once you get them there, Jack will just intuit where to go. No work on your part required. What's the point of being a gumshoe if all the answers are handed right to me?
Better check it out. It began with a call. Routine. Familiar.
Now that's a good question. That's a good question. I think it's valid, considering that this is a mashup of noir, and it's a mashup of noir and cartoon and boomer shooter, and if you go in here as a noir fan and you're expecting to be able to do some of that sleuth work, right, and you don't get any of that, that's valid. I think you're fine to criticize that. Next.
That brings me to one of my major problems with Mouse PI for Hire. Look, I hate to be that guy who brings up ludonarrative dissonance in a video game review in the year of our Lord 20...
Oh my god. You've been talking about ludonarrative dissonance for like 10 minutes already, bruh. The fuck you saying? You just saying the term now or what? God damn. Continue.
2026, and if you're rolling your eyes right now, I can't blame you, but it's an actual issue here. Jack Pepper is a PI who kills more people in a single mission than Philip Marlowe has in every book Raymond Chandler ever wrote combined. I don't care how corrupt the cops are. A private detective can't break into a police station and slaughter them en masse and then go about his day.
They're not cops. they're mobsters pretending to be cops. That's what they say during the opera mission, I think. Or this, the opera mission, I think. And also, also, sorry, by the way. Also, also, um, I agree with this in a little sense, okay? A slight, tiny little sliver of a sense, I agree with this. And that sense is, they keep referring to these enemies, monsters, gabagoos, okay? They keep calling them crooked cops after this moment. So maybe this guy missed the original context clue, and he kept hearing them being referred to as crooked cops, crooked cops, crooked cops. So maybe that's why he thinks that, wait, maybe are these crooked cops, or are these like mobsters pretending to be cops? But I think the game's trying to say, I'm not a hundo P on this, but I think they're actually not just crooked cops, and you're not massacring the PD, you're massacring gangsters dressed as the cops, because that's what it says on the opera mission. But that's like, I'm only 85% sure on that. But we're gonna keep going with this argument because he's talking about just killing a bunch of people. So yeah, let's see where this goes.
In one particularly nonsensical scenario, Jack inadvertently burns down an opera house to save a guy running for mayor, and he ends up fighting an opera singer and shoots her. Is she dead?
Dude, pre-watched? What the frick? It's literally this mission that you hear. The prima donna right there that you're fighting, that's a mobster. That's not an actress. That's a mobster. The fuck are you doing, ya gabagool? Okay?
Did I just kill an actress for being angry I burned down her workplace? If I didn't, have I left her alive and unconscious inside a burning building?
Well, Billy Stone did get blown to Kingdom Come.
Mouse PI for hire doesn't tell me, and it doesn't seem to care either way.
Forget it, Jake. It's Chinatown.
None of this is to say that Noir cannot or
forget it, kid. It's Chinatown.
Should not be violent, but the violence usually has a purpose. Much of Elliot Chase's seminal novel Black Wings Has My Angel is about robbing an armored car, but the book...
Oh my fucking god, this is getting... Okay, you know Noir, bro. We understand you. Like, we get it, dude. Dude, we understand. You're a fan, you're a scholar, you're a gentleman. You will probably fuck so many hot bitches because of your knowledge of Noir. But we get it already. Stop saying it, please.
Book builds to that. It's a big deal when it finally happens, and the characters have to reckon with the fallout once it does. Jack Pepper, on the other hand, is a walking catastrophe, and nobody in Mouseburg seems to care. He largely gets to go about his business and is portrayed as a down-on-his-luck everyman PI, like the characters who inspired him, when he is, at best, a mass murderer.
You imply...
Okay, now here's where this guy doesn't understand that it's not a noir game. Still, it's a noir cartoon boomer shooter game, okay? The noir part isn't the whole game story. It's also a cartoon in which it makes sense that you're being a little slaughter boy, like pow, 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 everything that moves, right? And it's a boomer shooter, so, you know, to get the boomer shooter element into that, you know, you kind of have to pow, pow, pow. So, this criticism is true if you're a noir fan and you close your eyes and you pretend that this game isn't anything else than a noir story. But dismissed. Dismissed, brother. Dismissed.
Something, Mr. Pepper?
Me? Imply? Never. I just connect the dots.
Does that make for a more fun video game? Maybe. But it's bad noir and a worse detective tale.
It's not meant to just be good noir. It's meant to be a good noir cartoon-led, cartoon-style boomer shooter game. Fucking Eskimo.
In the story as Mouse PI for Hire references, violence is an unfortunate but unavoidable part of the human experience that shatters the people it touches. Here, it's just entertainment, and that weakens the whole concept. But Will, you might say, this is a goofy Looney Tunes FPS. Why should I care about any of that? And the answer is because Mouse wants you to. It wants you to believe that this is important. You spend a lot of time talking about these characters, about putting together the clues you need to get to the bottom of what's going on.
Okay. Listen. It really doesn't take itself that seriously. It really doesn't. you're talking to these people, you know, you have some sort of surface level connection. You've got this like tropey kind of jokey. You even said earlier in this review itself that it's referential and it's parodic almost at points, and it references other cartoons and other games and other stuff. The game does not take itself that seriously, okay? Let's not sit here and pretend that it does. So that's why it's okay that the gameplay doesn't take itself that seriously either. That's what I think, at least. I mean, shit.
About Jack's motivation for doing the work. He allegedly needs the money, which both leads him to taking cases and doesn't track when I'm super rich from all the killing.
And he made essentially the point that I thought he was gonna make. It's like, ooh, Jack kills so many people. He's such a ba, and he's just murdering everybody, and he's killing them all, and it doesn't make any sense that he's just killing them all, but it does, because it's a boomer shooter. Yeah. Next.
Nonsense. You're drowning in debt, picking up small fries and petty cases.
All of that makes a lot less sense after you've gone to Tinsel Bros Studios and single-handedly eradicated the mob hanging out there, all while doing a bunch of Tomb Raider / Indiana Jones / Conan the Barbarian impressions, as everyone says you should be an actor.
So tell us, hero, what is best in life?
Yeah, I'll give it to you. There's some ludonarrative dissonance with the dialogue. It's not perfect, but it's certainly not fucking taking itself super seriously, okay? And again, this is we talked about the gameplay for like fucking 30 seconds, and we're still criticizing the story, and the story's like what a fucking third of what a video game is, a fourth. What are we doing, bruh? It's almost over, and we still haven't really, you know, got into the meat of the game, bruh.
To grate some parm, watch the cheese melt, and hear the joyful squeaks of my dinner guests.
Give this guy a week on the job as chief of police in Mouseburg would be the safest city in the world because nobody would be left alive to commit crimes in the first place. It's hard to buy into Jack as the regular guy who needs...
Not true, because in cartoon world, people don't have sex to reproduce. It kind of works like budding. And they bud, and every mouse he kills, 4 more spawn from the ether immediately. So
it's together evidence I'm told he is when he just wiped out the local police department, you know?
The police arcade? We sure went big on this one.
Mouse PI for Hire nails the aesthetics of both the 1930s cartoons and the detective stories that inspired it. And it's also an amusing boomer shooter that largely feels good as you're playing it. But its haphazard marriage of noir storytelling tropes and shooter gameplay are often at odds with each other in...
Okay, yes, I was gonna say this earlier. If you want to criticize the combination of doing the noir and cartoon as reductive to one another, you could do that. I appreciate that, and I understand that, and you've given plenty of examples why it is reductive. Yes, good criticism, valid criticism. But, I think what they've concocted here overall is very good, and it stands on its own 2 feet, even though the genres aren't something that you would typically see together. For you, obviously, you know, I just think that they blended it well together, and it works well together, and you just thought the noir sucked, but you're kind of arguing against yourself here, because it's not a noir thing. It's like a boomer shooter cartoon noir game. You know, you're kind of arguing against yourself, just like saying why this one element doesn't work in there, instead of like looking at the blend as a whole, kind of, you know. But you could criticize that, yeah. Those aren't like as separate objects. Those aren't the most complementary to one another. Sure, I'll give you that. But you said everything was good. You said you like all the elements. You said blah, 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 blah. Let's see what you give this game. I think I already saw it in the title, but fuck it.
In uncomfortable ways that weaken both aspects, and the writing is so busy making references to other things that it's actually painful to sit through at times. This FPS is solid enough if you just want to blast some cartoon mice and not think about it too hard, but once you do, all you'll see are the seams where disparate ideas have been fused together, and no trench coat can hide the stink of that moldy cheese. For more, check out our reviews of Pragmata and Resident Evil Requiem. And for
Brother. 2-3 years Dagestan and go, brother. 2-3 years Dagestan and go, brother. What do you mean? What do you mean you give it a 6? You said that the gameplay is good. You said that everything is good. You said that the shit works. The writing is bad. It doesn't really give off enough to the noir, which is something I already agreed with you with. But I think you're not really looking at the whole picture. But that's fine. But how in the fuck does that justify a 6? Can we talk about the score? Can we talk about the gameplay? Can we talk about the progression? Can we talk about the level design? Can we talk about anything that has to do with a video game before we give it a 6 out of 10? Are you giving the story a 6 out of 10? I thought this was a fucking game review. Are we a book reviewer? What are we doing right here? I don't know. Pass. No, that's not good. That's really not good. I think you're doing a game review and you're giving like 80% of your energy to the story, and the story does have things to criticize. Yeah, sure. It's not perfect, but you're kind of missing the mark on some of that too. And then you give the game a fucking 6er without going over any of the more important shit when it comes to a video game. It's not good. It's not good. No, it's not good enough. Now, should we keep raking this guy over the coals as a collective on the internet? Fuck no. Why the fuck are we? Why are we killing this guy? We got no reason. He's a fucking IGN reviewer, probably. Bro probably had to submit this shit. Like he was working at the IGN office. He was pushing papers. It's like, oh shit, it's 10 o'clock. Fuck, this review's due at 12. Oh, fuck, and then he just scribbled something up and sent it forward. He made a bad review. Let's pretend that this is some fucking earth-shattering deal, and even parts of the bad review, or like what there is in the bad review, isn't all completely off the deep end dog shit. I think we're being a little like too harsh with this fella right here. It is what it is. Yeah, definitely not a good review though. But yeah, Mouse PI for hire, pretty good game, like a 8 out of 10. GG's. IGN, or next time this guy you review a game, this guy, dude, you gotta start like at least 6 hours before the deadline, bro. Please. W.